Search engine marketing, SEO best practices. Search engine marketing is also known as PPC. That's pay-per-click. Welcome, Vernell. And pay-per-click is literally what you know it as and what you hear it as, pay-per-click. So for every click that you earn, you pay for the click based on the search volume and based on the search intent, based on the search difficulty, and based on the search volume. So when you look at the volume, the intent, and the value that you're getting in exchange is based on the time that you're also using that ad or that search engine marketing base. Like, for example, you would not be running ads about Black Friday in January. That wouldn't be happening. You'd be focusing more on Valentine's and special editions for couples. So the timing is very important. And when you look at the timing specifically, welcome Levy, Sherry, Courtney as well. As you're looking at these things, be very specific on how you want to connect with people. Hey, Renee, welcome. And if you want to get more information like this, please click the link at the top so you don't miss out information like this, because I send out emails so that you don't miss out on any information pieces that I talk about. You can go to playinc.online. Welcome, Ade and Camilo. Good to see you. It's been a while, Ade. Happy New Year. Stevie, good to see you as well. Thanks for being here. Ade, I sent you a message, so I would love to, reach out to you and connect, because it's hard to be on the app. Everybody is everywhere, so please reach out to me. And also anyone as well that would love to, please do so. I'll put my email in the chat. I don't usually do this, but I'm feeling led that today would be a good day to do this. So you're welcome, Ade. So I'll put my email in the chat. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Click the link above. Book an appointment with me. Let's get on a call. However you want to do it, I'm open. Let's be flexible and let's talk about this today. So I'm looking forward to hearing your questions. If you have any in the chat, please reach out to me and let's talk about it. We're all here to learn together. So search engine marketing is important. And I'm going to talk about the first thing, the click phase, right? So I'm going to start off with the click phase. The click phase is where everyone probably gets stuck at, because when it comes to search engine marketing, we're not talking about search engine optimization. That is already happening for the search engines for marketing purposes. Even if you do SEO is technically SEM. Back in the day, it used to be paid ads and SEO, quote unquote, both of them together as SEM. So SEM was considered both paid and organic, but now it's PPC, it's SEO, it's split into two. But at the same time, when you see SEM and SEO, don't confuse the two. So SEO is search engine optimization equals organic, which is the same thing as search engine marketing, which is paid, but now using money instead of using time. Because organically, you spend time, just like you plant a seed, it takes time to grow. So when you're using paid ads with search engine marketing, you're spending money on PPC value based on the search engine base that you already rank for. Now, when you now look at this click phase, it's very important to notice what happens here. There's a pre-click phase and there is a post-click phase. There's a pre-click phase and a post-click phase. You can call it a stage, a level, a process. There's a pre-click and there's a post-click. Now, the pre-click is where people think about what they're going to type. So search queries are very important. So let's role play. If you have a business, put in the chat what your business is about. Let's talk about this today. I want to make this live, responsive, so that you're also involved. So if you have a business and you're in the chat, you're here in the room, put your business in the chat. Let me know what you talk about, either in 1 or 2 words, and I'll use that as a point of reference so that you can see how that will work for your search engine marketing if you were to run a commercial on that. If you don't have any points, I'll use an example that comes randomly to my mind, but if you do, please put in the chat. So if you're looking at the pre-click phase, okay, let's see. Ade says AI compliance platform. That is very specific. Ade, I have questions. I have plenty questions, but I would love your feedback. Hey, Ade, what's up? Good to hear from you, man. Long time.
Thank you, Favour. Hi, everyone.
Hey, I would love to hear. Talk to me about the AI compliance platform.
So basically, what we do is we help organizations to get through their compliance quicker. We automate the manual processes. So moving from spreadsheet to automating the questionnaires, the answering of the questions, evidence collection, and also reporting as well.
This is good. Okay, now you got me thinking. With this strategy, how is it going in January 2026, and how has it been going from January 25?
Um, I'd say the SEO works well for me because I use yellow pages, so the keywords and all of that, they are sort of in place. But where I think I fall short is maybe in terms of customer success and also maybe just following through to conversion.
Okay. Yes, the conversion is a major point. So when you have the data collection and the process, what is the current process now? Do they find you, or is it the current process that you have for your existing clients?
So they find me because like I get maybe 2,000 visitors on my website like every month because they send me the reports. But then again, I need to build those funnels so that I can actually follow through because I think that's where I think I've been dropping the ball.
Okay, now it got me thinking about one more question now before I respond. How is your communications online and on media?
I would say I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm trusted advisor. Um, but I realized that like the personal brand is really high up there, but the company brand, the company page is like slowly um, um, building up.
Okay, the good thing is that you have a website, you have a system, you have a process. The major thing, like you said now, is the conversions, which is where I mentioned early that this is like the first phase of two, because there's a pre-click phase and there's a post-click phase. So you're right now in the pre-click phase, and this is where people are looking for your services, looking for you or your software, your company, so that people can now connect with you or get a demo, buy a copy, or schedule a call with you. So when I'm looking at this, how much is the time invested in a week when it comes to the number of people that are inquiring requests from the software or from the business?
So I wouldn't say that process is fully matured yet. Um, so I don't have the answer to that.
Okay. This is helping me because I wanted to look at it from a 30,000 viewpoint and see where we can also take that step, because from what you said, I can already see the pathway we can take
Mhm.
to build that. Now, this will be the checkmate question. When you're connecting with clients and you're getting prospects, what is your business? Is it local, regional, national, or international?
For now, it will be sort of Canada specific. I wouldn't say local, but it would be maybe regional. Yeah.
So, okay, so it would be like let's say a hybrid mixture between regional and national.
Regional and national. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So with this then, you talked about AI compliance, and the ones that you've done already, that you've connected with, the people you've connected with, what do they say they search for and find you when they're looking for things that you provide?
I haven't really covered that, but I have the information that I use for running my campaign and all those kind of good things. So I have all the keywords that they search for, but I haven't gone into that depth of, well, what were you guys actually looking for, rather than just like following through, seeing how we can sort of understand more of their pain points and leveraging our technology to bring solution to their problems, really.
Yes, and I believe this is where the knowledge panel, the knowledge base, the knowledge graph would take the most effect, because when people are looking for searches online in the pre-click phase, they're mostly looking for informational searches or results, navigational results, commercial results, or transactional results. So when they're searching for your, I'll say for the service regionally or nationally, I'm looking at it from a commercial and transactional, but also from informational too, because they may not know what AI compliance is. So they may say, hey, ChatGPT, or hey, Siri, hey, Alexa, what is this? Or the people who already know about it that are within your target market would be asking, what are the best AI compliance platforms for
Yep,
B2B
yep,
businesses?
yep, yep.
So when that starts happening, now I'm looking at it from a 30,000 viewpoint, and I'm like, okay, if that's where people are going to look for from the longitudes and the latitudes, which are the coordinates within the API system for Google search and also other search index platforms, I'm now looking at your website as an anchor of reference. So where we'll be building that, it will be from the search engine marketing phase that will allow people to find and discover you, because I usually talk about like a 4 cycle loop, which is search, click, find, save. Search, click, find, save. So when people go through that phase every day, they're going to search for something, they're going to find something, they're going to click it, they're going to save it. Whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Google, whether it's on ChatGPT, they're going to save it somewhere. So now to bring you as the forefront into that conversion, which is now the post-click phase, that's where the nurturing and the
Yeah.
building is coming, and that's where we're looking at. And I would love to know this year, what does that look like for you when it comes to events, in person, virtual? What is the scope like? Because I'm just looking at it from a macro standpoint.
So the local events are sort of really good. However, I think that there could be more consistency or more work on the following through side of things. Um, Again, these are good questions that can help me to go back and actively put a strategy in place.
Yes, and I'll say let's get on a call, Ade, because I know we've talked about this before, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yes, please. I'm
I'll
feeling
drop
free
you
to.
an email. Yeah,
Yes, definitely. And when I'm seeing this, it's very important to look at it from the long-term perspective
yeah.
of how well and deep within the research of the API systems you're showing up configured for a certain semantic, or I'll say like semantic phrase or key phrase or keyword or scenario keyword, because there's something called scenario keywords. So
Mhm.
if, for example, somebody's hungry, it's almost going to be lunchtime very soon. Like right here in Houston, it's central, so it's 11:29 a.m. For someone else, it could be lunchtime. So at that point in time, they're looking for food and they're trying to see what type of food to buy or what food to order. So in that scenario is setting up a filtered result for them to get something within their area of influence or their area of access. So that's usually between less than 1 mile to about 20-mile radius. And then for you in Canada, it's kilometers. So if you look at it, let's say 25 kilometers, range, then how can you still base your website back to your website as a way for people to find you post click wise? So when they find the platform, let's say you have an article on a commercial value exchange that's talking about AI compliance, and your website is known for AI compliance, because that's the whole point. You want to become the topical expert, the topical authority, and the topical reference for a certain key phrase. So when you typed in AI compliance, my next question would be, what are the platforms out there and what are people using? So I now went to search, and I always tell people whenever I send an audit, when you click the link above, I'll always do an audit and send you an audit. So I'm always full of transparency. There's a platform I use called serpapi.com. And I always talk about this, and you can see it. It's real-time data for you. It's free. You can check it out. And I looked and I said, okay, let me come to Canada and see. Let me do a quick teleport. And I went to Canada. I typed in Canada, and there are about 36.1 million people. From what I'm seeing here, there's Toronto is about 10 million people, Montreal is about 7.6, Vancouver is 3.8, Calgary is about 3.2, and it keeps going on and on. So I said, okay, let me just get the whole country, which is 36.1 million people, and I typed in AI compliance programs. So the result I'm going to get when I hit the search is going to give me google.ca, not google.com, because I'm in the US to be google.com. So when you're looking at your domain, your properties, your DNS, these are very specific things that will be helping your business gain momentum because you're locally present, you're regionally accessible, and you're nationally known. So these are the things that will allow your business to gain more access so that you can be able to use this and also build it out for yourself and then see where you can take that to the next level. Because when you use these tools, you can see what's happening in real time. Because right
Sorry,
now,
what's this tool called again?
it's called serpapi.com. I'll put the link in the chat.
Oh, good man. Thank you.
You're welcome. And hello, Kelsey, Jamila, Bell, Nina, Faluka. Good to see you here as well. Gary, thanks for being here too. So the link is in the chat. And
Thank you.
when you see this website, it's going to tell you exactly what is live. So it's technically like google.com. It's just that you're getting it based on the location that you are in. So I would get a different results than you would if I would type the same thing here in the US. So now that I'm seeing the results, I'm looking online and it tells me the top 6 AI compliance tools for 2025. That was October 15th. Then I see a company talking about artificial intelligence. That was September 25. There's another company talking about 2025. AI compliance, what is it and why you should care. 2025, 2025. So all I'm seeing is 2025. The last one is 2023. Yeah. So there's no 2026 content currently sitting on Google that's in relation to your topic, which has a huge search volume. So just imagine if there are 52.1 billion searches in the world, and Google has now risen from about 8.5 billion searches to close to about 20 billion searches a day. So just imagine if you have 0.001% of the searches in your region that are looking for those things, and your website is a point of reference. So our goal is to match. We're not trying to game the system. We're trying to bring reasoning, and the only way the reasoning will be understood is if your website is compliant to both Google search and also to Bing search, to Perplexity bot, to ChatGPT bot, to all these other bots, to Bing bot, to Google bot. These are all bots talking to each other. The same way we're talking to each other in English is the same way the bots are talking to each other in their code language. So if we bring the code language that I'm looking at on that platform, serpapi.com, and you're also using that within your website, but you're building it within a structured format. Unstructured would be bricks, sand, cement. That's unstructured. But now structure is a house, it's a room, it's a hallway, it's a door. There's a setting, there's a foundation. So why I'm looking at it for you now is to build what you already have as unstructured data, which is great resource, and turn that into structured data, which could now be impact for long-term perspectives and also long-term benefits. So you wouldn't even have to spend money on ads, because the same ads you'd be spending money on is what people are finding you locally for. Now, when you do the search engine marketing, you're spending at least 30% or even more less than what you could have spent if you were to get the same people within the same region.
Wow. That is genius. Thank you so much for the diagnostics. It's very, very, very on point. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ade. And lastly, let me ask this. Do you have any question for me before I go into some of the points I want to share today with you guys?
No questions from me, but this is really value hard, and yeah, thank you so much.
Very helpful and very insightful, because I'm sure this can also help a lot of people that are looking at their businesses. You know, your business is in every place. That's why I didn't want to just choose a random topic. I wanted it to be specific to the person so that it's easy to see it from your point of view. Because I can give you an example very hypothetically, but it may not reason out or click the way it does if it was to be yours in the model or in the fix. So it's a good way to look at it and say, how does it fit into the frame? And how can you use search engine marketing to build that? So the number one thing I always say with post-click phases for search engine marketing is email marketing. This is one untapped resource that if you do consistently, you will never lack in abundance at all, because you'll be creating content for people online that are looking for your content. And these people that are looking for your content online are looking for the right resources. So when you start noticing that your resource becomes the point of reference from the source, which is, let's say, google.com, and the resource is your website, then you start looking at it from two different angles and not just one linear scale. So the post click is where you're getting to see the conversions, or you don't see the conversions because you might see a drop off. You might see they check out, but they don't really complete their checkout process, or something happens. So these are very meticulous things to look at when you're also thinking through, how do I think about conversions? And conversions could be a call, it could be a referral, it could be a referral, it could be a text, it could be an email, it could be a ping, it could be a DM, it could be anything. So when you're looking at conversions, don't look at conversions like only monetary conversions, because there's no conversion that didn't start without a conversation. So if there's a conversation, whether it's from the person's mind, they're thinking about it before they type, and the results that they get after they type to now connect to the person they resonate with the most, then that's when they can take that next step to say, okay, this is something that is of importance to me. So if you're thinking about search engine marketing, it's no longer just about SEO, because SEO is broad. But I now took it down to a location. So when you think about SEO and SEM, they are the same, one and the same thing, but they're very different too. So when you look at SEM, which is search engine marketing, you're looking for things that focus on dynamic keyword insertion. You're looking at things that focus on LSI keywords, which is latent semantic indexing keywords. In other words, you're looking for words that you can build around your website, around your ecosystem, around your content cloud, that people can start to listen to more than what you're saying, because they're getting more insight from what they're hearing. So the more I'm explaining something, the more you're understanding it, because the deeper the revelation and the deeper the insight you're getting to your final point of reference is where you can now look back and say, oh, okay, now I see how I got here, because this was missing, this was not there, this was aligned, or this was misaligned. How can we realign it and put it back so we can have a better scope? So using this type of targeting is very important to focus on your keywords, because keywords matter a lot, because the keywords is what people type. If you flip the keywords in between, you may not get the same result. You might say podcast, or you may say podcasts. You might say shoe, or you might say shoes. You might say trip or trips. When those words change everything, because those letters, they're called long tail keywords for a reason, because the last word or the last letter is where you're getting the highest, I can call it the highest. I want to give you like a really good term to just look at it in a much better way. You're looking at it as the highest level of response. Because when you now look at your content and you now realize that people are willing to share the information to get a personalized experience, it's because you're marketing within search engines that are favorable to them. So we just give an example of a search engine in Canada for Ade. There'll be a search engine for the US for you, or for me, or for somebody who's in the US. If somebody's in another country, it's going to be another search engine, Google dot your extension. So it's going to be different for everyone. So when you now start thinking about location, that's a big marketing factor that's so underrated. Because yes, you can look at your demographics, you can look at the income, gender, age, you can look at all the details that you need for what you're looking for within that demographic, even zip down to zip code. You can look at psychographics, right? When you think about the mood, how they feel, what are they thinking, what is the attitude, what are the morals, what are the values, what are the principles, what are the ethics, what are the reasons why they do what they do. Firmographics, that is where you think about the companies, right? What type of company is it? Is it a B2B company? Is it a B2C company? It's very specific. It has to match that, because it could be anyone and you don't want to target anyone, because that's targeting no one. So you want to make sure that you're targeting the right people who are looking for your content. What industry are they in? What's their title? Are you looking for the VP? Are you looking for the CMO? Are you looking for the manager? Are you looking for fill in the blank? So when you start looking at those things and start basing it down to the city, country, state, start looking at those things. What are the things that make them sign up? How are they going to connect with you? What is their history like when it comes to purchases? Do they purchase at 4 a.m. or 4 p.m.? Do they purchase on the weekend or the weekday? These are very important questions to look out for, because these are the very same things that you will need to think about conversions later. Welcome, Jamila, D-Red, Temi. Thanks for being here as well. So, and Chris too. Welcome to the room. So there's so much that you have to look at as a business and ask yourself, all these things that I'm talking about, where are we going? And there was a study that was done by McKinsey Research. You can Google it. And the research was talking about how when you have personalized ads, and I'm paraphrasing, you get up to about 30% higher spend in marketing and also in your return on investment when it comes to efficiency and overtime. So when you think about 30% greater marketing spend efficiency, it means that you've personalized it so much to the point where the person that's listening to your ad is so connected to you because it's localized. And that's where it comes into play when it comes to search engine marketing. I'll give you a very good example, and you can check this out. If you don't use this platform, try this out if you ever get a chance to open it, especially if you're not paying for ads or paying to skip ads on the platform. Spotify. If you go to Spotify and you start playing music, and at some point it starts to run ads, the ads that you're going to listen to is going to be based on where you're located. So it's going to say, hey, Texans, hey, this, hey, that. Where you are is going to match that. And when you hear that, people will feel more connected to you because, oh, okay, you're okay. Let's meet up for coffee. Let's meet up for steak. Let's meet up for sushi. Well, let's meet up for seafood. Let's meet up for some jollof rice. Whatever it is that you want to do, you're building that relationship, because now that 30% is helping that 70% grow. So you never have to worry about the 70% because the 30% is already foundationally set. So when you start looking at it from a personalized experience and start using it to give the best experience to your content, it helps. Because when you start using locations, and you start using geographical matters and start looking at it from a base of influence and not just anybody, then that's going to also help you too. One great thing to do when you think about search engine marketing, because this could be PPC, pay-per-click, which is technically Google ads or YouTube ads or Microsoft Bing ads, right? That's what search engine marketing is technically about. So if you're running ads through these search engines, it's different from social media ads, because Facebook ads or Meta ads, Threads ads, whether you're doing, which one is this now? TikTok ads, there's so many out there you can do. That's not search engine marketing. That's social media advertising. Or you can call it campaign or for business, however you want to put it, but it's not a search engine, because Facebook.com and Google.com are two different systems. Google.com is a search engine. Facebook.com is a social media platform. They are both domains, but they operate differently. So when you're in Facebook, you're within the Facebook API system, the Facebook algorithm. the Instagram algorithm, the TikTok algorithm. So those are not engines. Those are algorithms. So when you look at these two, don't confuse that search engines are Facebook. No, search engines are Google, YouTube, Pinterest, Microsoft. These are search engines. So when you now start running ads on search engines as opposed to social media, the search engines also, I would say a better way to say this would be the search engines bring in social media at a warmer level as opposed to a cold level. Because if I'm looking for something specific and I'm in a certain city or I live in a certain country and I now choose the choice that makes the most sense to me when I click on it and I connect to that business, I may want to follow them on social media or check out their website or sign up to their email list because that social media is a bypass. It's where people bypass. People don't live on your LinkedIn. They don't live on your Facebook. They don't live on your TikTok. They'll watch a TikTok video. They'll like a YouTube reel, YouTube shorts, Instagram reel. They'll like something that would be of benefit to them. But at the end of the day, they're going to move on to the next thing as fast as they came to you. As fast as they came to you, they're going to leave too. So when you think about the long-term approach of building capacity with search engine marketing, the SEO best practice is, first of all, to have your domain secure so that when you're running ads on Google Ads, you're going to be running ads to those same platforms. So even if you have a homepage, and I'm sure you've probably seen this before too, where you type in something, and then when you type in the word, you're going to see, and this was back in the day before all the AI modes and all the AI overviews came into play, but this is how it was classically, and it's still there today. Welcome to Rika and Rachel. Whenever you type in a keyword or something that is related to a specific brand, most times when you click search, within the search results, you're going to see paid ads and you're going to see organic ads after. In the paid ad section, you're going to see brands, you're going to see businesses, you're going to see listings, you're going to see links. And these links are already on google.com. In other words, if they were not running ads, they will still be showing up on those listings. So when you look at the paid results, they change the meta title, which is very important to note, right? Because you're focusing on a campaign, right? Campaigns are specific, they're seasonal, they're targeted. So you want to make sure that your listing is not the same as the organic, because the organic would be making sense for the general public. But if you have a campaign, it's within a timing, it's within a specific launch period. Welcome, Cassandra. So if you're looking at it from the long-term perspective and you're focusing on, let's say you have 10 locations and then you want to highlight the first 3 or the top 3, then as a business, you're going to highlight those 3. Even if the one website is serving all 10, you want people to see the first 3 or the nearest 3 to them. So when you now look at it long term and you now notice that the clicks are taking you to those web pages where they sign up or connect with you and they want to also work with you, that's where you start thinking about the relationship model. How do you send messages? How do you connect with them more? Because someone may be interested today and be so uninterested tomorrow. And it's not because your product was not doing what it was supposed to do. It's just that the interest was not backed up with the data. It wasn't backed up with a follow-up. It wasn't backed up with information because they probably went to the next person that gave them the information faster than you did. So when you now start thinking about it, hey Rachel, when you start thinking about it from the long-term perspective of a business, how do you as a business take your content to the next level with creating content that will be very specific on getting targeted results? So if you look at the SEM results that on Google search is going to be, let's say, location, welcome Odub, it's going to be location, grab this today, something like that, or 20% off till February 1st, something like that. It's very specific. It's not even something that you look at your key phrase for, because it's already something that's very targeted. Now, when you do that, your listing organically, the homepage is still the same page that you clicked on at the top, But the reason why you clicked on the one at the top and not the one at the bottom is because, of course, you saw the one at the top first. And more importantly, it was more targeted towards a personalized experience than it was with an SEO listing, which could just be a general layout. So when you start using those two, you have a much better base because somebody can see you on Google search, they can see you within the search listing, and they can also see you within the sponsored listing, right? Those are two types of listings. So when you have passed the pre-click phase and you've passed the post-click phase, now you've been able to connect with people and interact with them. Now they find you on your podcast, they find you on your show. Like for me, if you go to the We Don't Play podcast show, you can listen to my podcast there. Over 600 episodes you can binge on, and covering so many things from different areas focused on marketing, SEO, AI, Pinterest, website, business growth, and also interviewing amazing people who come on the show, and we've connected with 160 countries. So this is something that is search engine based because it's focusing on target markets that are just specific to their need. So we're not trying to fulfill or game a system, because SEO is not about keywords only. It's about structure, it's about speed, it's about semantics. Structure, speed, semantics. When you can use those three and they work hand in hand and they're very powerful and they can actually turn into like a tripod stand, then it's going to be really I can call it a 3-string chord that can be broken, because it's very tight. And when you're able to put those things in place, your search engine marketing will be top level. So I'd love to hear from you too, Mo, because Mo is amazing with copy. And I'd love to hear from you, Mo. We'd love to hear what's your thoughts on this when it comes to search engine marketing and letting people move from static to active or even proactive.
All right, what's up? Happy New Year,
Happy
brother.
New Year, bro.
This year, but how long you been having the room?
I started this room around 11:15 a.m. Central. So we've been here for a minute.
All right, so all right, so forgive me if you've already gone over this. All right, all right. So let's see. Knowing you've probably gone over this, but I would say the first step in SEO best practices. Excuse me. The first thing I would do is make sure that your meta tags and meta descriptions are on par, right? And also talking phrases, because a lot of search is going more towards voice searches. So people are hitting the microphone and saying, "Hey, find pizza near me," right? Things like that. Also, this is the cheat code, right? In your copy, right? What you want to do is, I'm gonna give you other cheat code, and this is one of my favorite cheat codes, right? I normally only give this to my paid clients, but since Favor's my man, I'm gonna give it to y'all. Right. Use the people also ask or use answer the public for the questions that are being searched for. In your copy, headline each paragraph with one of those questions, and then answer the question in the first sentence or two, and then end this paragraph with an impact statement. Right? So it's going to take some practice for y'all to get used to that. But the reason why is because if you're answering the questions that people are searching for, Google, Bing, or whatever, even the answer engines, right? ChatGPT, Perplexity or whatever, right? They're going to see that it has the value because people are asking those questions, and so you'll show up higher in results, right? So it's not going to be an overnight thing for you. It's going to be an over time thing. but you just have to be patient and be persistent and keep doing it. Right. So those are like my first things when it comes to best practices for SEO, is to incorporate that in every single piece of copy that you create, whether it's your blog post, whether it's your landing page, or whatever it is that you're about to publish on the web. Use those people also ask, people search for next questions, this, that, and the other to formulate your content. And with that, I'll go ahead and land the plane. This is Mo Dub, the Bet You Love, and I'm out.
Thank you, Modub. That's dope. I love that you mentioned that. Welcome, Dr. Fashion. It's very important to think about the benefit, the orientation, and the setup of where you want people to connect with you the most. Like, where is the most response? Welcome, Nicole. Where is the most response? How are you getting the most response? How will you even know the response is being validated? And that's where the benefit comes in. So search engine marketing is technically PPC, pay per click, but you can also run that in a way that will be beneficial to the person that is watching, that's listening, that's connecting. So when you start looking at your content differently this year for the benefit of conversions, just like Mo said too, look at the benefit that you're giving them, because in that search engine marketing, you don't have a lot of space. You don't have a lot of space. You need to be so concise that the person that is scanning or skimming through those texts, through the search engine market listings, is so specific that whatever they read within the first 2 to 5 syllables should already get them to 80% of the process to completion so they can click on it, which will be 20%. So if you're looking at it from a perspective of signing up to an event or connecting or booking or anything that's going to be very benefit oriented, then there also needs to be an action power word connected to it. So that's why your headlines are very important, super important. I'll just give you an example. Which is very interesting too. For podcast titles, it's about 100 characters, which would be, actually, let me flip it. Let me say it this way so that it can have a better look and feel on this. For your podcast, the title of your podcast has a limit of 100 characters with spaces. But your episode title has a character limit of 200 characters with spaces. So you have leverage now because you have more to do with more episodes, right? So when you now think about search engine marketing, you have about less than between 50 to 60 characters with spaces that you're using on Google Ads or YouTube ads. So if you look at that, that says a lot. An episode could be 4 hours long, 2 minutes long, or short, however you want to put it. And that in itself could have 200, welcome V, could have 200 characters that could be showing up on the web, which is pretty long. And I don't think you should do 200 either because that's pretty long, right? But if you're thinking to that extent of the bandwidth, think about this like credit, like how much, or a line of credit, how much can you be able to move the needle, right? So if you know you have 200 characters with spaces, but you only use 65 of them, then you're good. You don't need to think about the whole 200 because you're still gaining momentum. If you need it, you got it. So if it's the same thing with your podcast title, it's 100 characters. So you're able to know exactly, okay, this is what I need to focus on. These are the specific keywords, and they're very primary, they're very focused, trendy, and they're also very specific. Now, when I have an ad, I want to run an ad, and this is search engine marketing. Now I have about 50. So whatever I've gotten from the 200 and from the 100, I need to apply to the 50. And now when I apply to the 50, I need to also think about the conversions. So with search engine marketing, one of the best things you can do too, and this is also organic, but you can do this for ads, which will even give you a higher result. I'm just telling you this, try it out and see. If it works, tell me, reach out to me on LinkedIn, My name is Favour Obasi Ike. Reach out to me and I'd love to connect with you for sure. Try this out. There's a 38, welcome Cindy. There's a 38% conversion lift, or I can even say a higher click-through rate for your subject titles. Try this in your emails too, by the way. Anything that has a title on it, try it. A short, a reel, try it. I'm betting on you. Try it. And tell me if this doesn't work, then we can talk about it. It has a 38% click-through rate. When you put brackets and you use brackets in your titles, when you use brackets in your subject lines, when you use brackets in your meta titles, into your descriptions. You can also do that too, which is very specific. A lot of people don't do that, but that's also a good way to see it, because when people are reading, they're skimming from left to right. So if they are skimming and they see a character, which is not a symbol or a letter, they're going to pause, because that's a pattern disrupt. This is all psychology. So when you start thinking about the marketing in itself and you see people reading the bracket, someone will read a bracket before they read the text. Possibly someone may read or look at an emoji before they read the text. That's possible. So when you start looking at the intention behind the sentimental value that they're adding to the conversation contextually, then using brackets is going to help you. So if you now put there 20% off, or you put in there, ends 0102 or 0201, whether it's date, month, or month, date, however you want to put it, you're putting them in very specific places. When people see those ads and the time that they're seeing it, whenever they're shopping or whenever they're looking for information and you're there, that's going to increase your percentage and your actual click-through rate. So more people can now find you on Google. More people can find you on ChatGPT. More people can find you on Perplexity. More people can find you on Siri. More people can find you on Alexa. If you have a podcast, even better, because now you're on 4 core platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon. Those are 4 cornerstones. And of course, there are others as well too. But those 4 put you on the map, because if you're talking about topics that are contextually connected to what people are searching for, and you have them in form of links back to your website, that's a great way to do it too. Not everyone needs to have a podcast, but even if you're a guest on a show, that should be enough for you to have that anchor in place, because it's an off-page signal. It's an off-page SEO signal. So anytime you think about search engine marketing, it's a reverse engineering process of what you're doing when you do SEO. Welcome, Mercy. So this is a very important thing to factor in. And also think about, as a business, where are we putting our content in 2026? And how much content are we putting out there for people to get? If you're running search engine marketing, 9 times out of 10, you're probably doing this because it's local. Either you have a local event, or you have a local festival, or you have something that is locally connected to the event or connected to the listing. It could be a booking, it could be a service, it could be a product, but it's going to be within that area. If it's national, that's fine too, but it's going to have an action related result to it. And then the results you get from it is how you're able to know, okay, it's working, or this is how it's supposed to be. So think about this from a long-term perspective, and don't just think about email marketing or search engine marketing or SEO as another tool. Think about this as impact and influence that's going to also attribute to your conversions. Because the less steps somebody has to take to learn about you or to verify, the more or the higher the chances they have of connecting with you on a deeper level. So it's really important to look at it from these, specific platforms and these specific angles too. Welcome, Alicia. Modub, what would you say would be the best resource or the best way for someone to take action on what they are seeing? Because most times people can get an ad, they can see a call to action, and the person that is reading it doesn't even take the action that they're being told to. So what really moves, and what would you say changes in the dynamics of the messaging and structure?
Well, for me, right, that all boils down to the call to action, right? The CTA, right? And a lot of times I see CTAs that are weak, for lack of a better term, right? Learn here. I mean, learn more. Click here. Those are weak call to actions. Hold on one second. Right. What you want to do is something sure, like claim your spot, right? Or claim your 50% off discount, right? Remind them of the benefit for clicking that action. So if you give a stronger CTA, you're going to see much more positive results on that click-through action of what you want, that step you want them to take. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I'm just getting over the flu. But yeah, that's what you have to do, right? So that's the number one culprit for me when I see one of my clients, why they're getting the click, but they're not getting the conversion, right? It's because the CTA is too weak. So keep that in mind.
This is big. Thank you for highlighting that. It's so important to look at it, from this perspective. I think I talked about it yesterday, and I'll bring it today, which will make better sense if you heard it yesterday when I talked about this. When you look at the call to action points where SEO is involved and where SEM is involved, when you're running ads or even sending emails or being specific with your targeting, the same people that you're talking to may have a different perspective when you say something different. I could be telling you the same thing every day, but when I change the way I say what I said, but it's a different perspective, you look at it differently because it's changed your pattern it's actually created a pattern disrupt. Because now it's like, wait, okay, that's different. Hold up, rewind. So when you now do that, it creates a completely new scenery of experience from an end-to-end user standpoint. So when you think about search engine marketing and getting to the results, which is the conversions, it's very important to look at the conversions as where do people need to go, to the point where color is so important. We had this with a client. We just did this with a client. This is just a scale. This is how we turned a client, and we're actively working with them, and we're excited because usually their sales cycle starts in April, but this year they started in January. So it's like and they have locations in person. They have about 5 locations. So online, of course, they're making sales in person. Everything is working, but online it's crickets. And they were making sales or are making sales on Amazon, but they weren't making sales on their website. So it's like we make sales everywhere. We're available in person, in a store. We're everywhere and we're good, which, I mean, at the end of the day, sales is a bottom line of business, right? What is your sales margin, your profit margin? What are you looking into as your overhead costs, your expenses, and all the good stuff with P&L and everything else in between? So when you now look at the long-term effect of what you're looking at online, you're still spending money online, whether it's your domain or your hosting, there's something you're still spending money on. So that money you're spending on is still going to be accounted for. So welcome, Pierre. When you think about your business, how do you now translate that into sales? So they have a website, they're doing really well. And one thing that they weren't doing on their website, which I initially told them from the first audit, because when you click the link above, you get an audit from me and I tell you exactly what I see. I don't even need to access your website to see what I need to see to know what needs to happen next, because it's something that it's an audit. So when you look at it and you now look at it internally, whether you talk to your team or it's you doing it or you have wherever it's going to, or whoever it's going to next as a decision maker, when I get that information, loop back, and I now know that this is what you want as a result, whether it's a website, an app, a social media channel, whatever it is, from auditing to implementation, that's what we can do. And I sent it out to them and they said, okay, let's get it done. So we've been working with them for 4 months now. And the first month they got a little traction online, then it dipped. And then in the second month, and this is January. So I'm talking October, November, December, January. This is 4 months. This is something happening currently. And I was like, okay, this is a nice challenge. Let's see what we can do here. The first thing we had to figure out is the technical setup, because if your website is strong, especially when you have a lot of pages that you have, think about it. You have a store, you have inventory, you have in stock, you have out of stock, you have a lot of pages that Google is either seeing or not seeing. So we have to understand, how do we take all these pages and drop the ones that are out of stock and then add value to the ones that are in stock. So we've taken about 3 months to do a lot of cleaning up. We're talking about thousands and thousands of pages, tens of thousands of pages. And another client is about 20 million pages. So we look at these pages and we're like, okay, how do we take all these pages and bring it to a point where monetary wise, brand wise, visibly wise, AI wise, SEO wise, whatever marketing wise, you have long-term benefits? Because the lifespan of a blog is 24 months, y'all. That's why right now you can see content from 2023 and 2026. That's more than 24 months. That tells you the elasticity. It tells you the long-term benefit of having blogs on your website. Wikipedia is running amazingly well because they're technically blogs. Every page you see there is technically a blog. It's an article. It's a Wikipedia article. That's why it's number one. So success leaves blueprints. There are other websites I can mention which do the same thing too. So if your website does not have blogs, it doesn't have pages, it doesn't have links internally and externally, just like you can breathe in and breathe out, your website is not going to have that full term effect. So I'm just giving you guys like the scope of what we've been doing with the client. So in the first month, it was working well. We had to start building out articles because they didn't have articles. They'd had maybe 2 or 3 articles, and we're like, you have a whole store with products, with brands. And I said, okay, let's make sure we can take care of this and handle it in a way that every location is not clashing with the other. Because if you have 5 locations and you have the same business, how are we going to differentiate between one and the other? So that's how we were able to scale it. Right now, we're about 45% through with the indexing. We're going to get to 100% by March. So when you now look at the trajectory of, okay, this is something that happens every 30 days, because there's something called a crawl budget. If you've never heard of it before, it's called a crawl budget. This is an SEO term or an SEM term. A crawl budget just means how many times within a 24-hour cycle does Google, for example, because there are other search engines too, not just Google, but Google as well, would come to the total number of your site pages and scan through them, pick the ones that are relevant, pick the ones that are active. Let's say, for example, you get 10 oranges and 3 oranges are bad, right? And then I come in, every day I'm taking out the oranges that are bad, and then I'm taking the ones that are good and I'm trashing out the ones that are bad. If I've come 3 times, that means I've been able to take out at least 9 bad oranges, right? So that means if I have 3 the first day out of 10, the next day 3, the next day 3, that means those 9 pages, I'm just giving you a little incremental value so you can scale it to see how it looks like with SEO wise. Those bad pages, the reason why they're bad oranges is because they have broken links, or they're duplicated links, or the pages are not loading. Something is wrong with the page to the point where it's a 404 error, like something is not right with the page. So Google is not going to take that page as a point of reference to ruin their experience, because Google would never give somebody a resource that has a 404 error. So you have to do your own due diligence to make sure that your pages that are being served to Google are not 404 errors or broken links. So, and that's on your end. So we had to clean out all that information. So I'm just giving you like a live case study of what we've done with a client before I get to the result of what happened just last week within the 4th month. We started making sure that every page was scannable, indexable. The ones that are out of stock, we changed them because they have locations on there in person. We're like, hey, you need to also have locations on your website. Yes, you have contact us, but you need to have actual locations. So we put actual locations, we built everything together, we made sure everything is structured. We're coming back to structure. I talked about structure earlier. So with the structure, we now said, okay, every location is going to have their own thing. So now they have at least 16 blogs on their website. And just literally last week, we got on a call and Usually for me, whenever we get on a call, it's me that you talk to, have a team, and we make sure everything is going well, whether it's consultation or implementation. We'll take care of it and handle it for you because everybody's busy. You have got bigger fish to fry. So I want to make sure that our time is well spent every hour we get within a 12-week span. And that's 12 hours of talk time or screen time. And it's all recorded. So we can always go back and make sure that everything that we've talked about in the last 12 weeks were implemented and presented in a deliverable way that you can see actual results from the implementations that were done prior. So we got to week 4, week 5 with the client, and we saw that, okay, it was dipping because we're getting to a point where with content, they didn't have enough content to leverage their brand. So that's why I always say write blogs on your website to leverage your products, because you can have a product page. To Google, it's a product page. That's all Google knows. It doesn't know whether it's a blog page, an FAQ page. All it knows is that this page right here is a product page. So you need to create another page. No worries, Ade. Thank you so much. Yes, we'll connect over email. Thank you for the question. That was a really great way to start the room. Thank you for being here. Creating that implementation from the ground up is important, because when you have the second month and the third month coming in, welcome Dr. Nadia and Millie and Tequila, I see you as well. Nick, thank you for being here. I see you as well. Masume, thanks for being here too, and Jamila too. Within that third and fourth week, we said, okay, let's make sure we can change these up. So we cleaned out, in the first month, we cleaned up all the pages to make sure that we are indexing correct pages. And why do we do this in 30 days? And why does it always take SEO 3 months? Because people say, why does it take 3 months? It could be dependent on your business. You may have a large website or a 5-page website. You can either have a 5 million page website or a 50-page website. So your crawl budget is based on the number of pages you have in total. So that's the first thing. So when you hear 3 months, 3 months should not sound like 3,000 years. It should sound exactly what you've built within the time prior to the next quarter that you want to implement your strategy or marketing for, search engine wise. So we built in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and said, okay, let's build out articles, because they had 2 or 3. We said, okay, let's do 1 or 2. Let's just dip our feet in the water. Let's see, can this work? Is this working? What are we seeing? What are we getting? We started noticing results. Results started coming in, because they sell on Amazon, they sell in person, they sell like power tools. These are like tools that you use at home. Like, these are power tools. So it's a large company. And I'm like, okay, let's make sure that these tools that are being used are brands that people already type, because we're talking about the pre-click phase. I talked about the 2 phases, right? There's a pre-click phase and a post-click phase. So we're in the pre-click phase right now, where nobody knows whether we have that product, yet we do have it as a product page, but we can't accredit that. We can't validate that product page if we don't have an about page or a blog page to support the product page or the FAQ page. Because when people are reading, they're technically skimming. And all these pages that we're building for, we might say, yeah, we're not reading them, but guess who else is reading them? The algorithms. And guess where else is going to? The API system, the LLMs, the large language models that you want to be on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cloud. This is where they're sourcing this information from. So if you have information that you can place on the web from your anchored website, that is where it starts to build. So within those first 3 months, we built it out, make sure that everything is cleaned up, added new pages, because for every 1 page that you update, at least, let me say this way, for every 1 page that you publish, update at least 2. Because what you're doing is that you're changing something called the last modification date. There are 2 types of date. There's a published date and there's a modified date. Just like on your local drive, if you go to your computer right now, you're going to see the date you created this folder, the date this was modified. It's local drive. So we're dealing with drives, we're dealing with servers, we're dealing with systems. So it's the same difference. So when you now look at the scaling, we said, okay, we're going to add blogs that are semantically connected to this brand. So month 1 was cool, made a couple of sales, great. October, November, December, because that's literally Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And now we're in a new year. We're about to get into Valentine's. Before you know it, it's Easter. Before you know it, it's another holiday. So we're looking at the seasons and we said, okay, let's write for tomorrow, because the past is the past, right? Let's write for tomorrow and say that from tomorrow henceforth, Any other year that's coming after this, you're going to be benefiting from this because it's a planted seed that would last 24 months out. So think about it like index funds, right? Because we're not going to say the same thing twice. If I answered your question the first time, why am I responding the second time to answer the same thing I answered the first time? So when you answer one question at a time and you modify that question over time, that's where the time compounds in due time, in due season. That link, that blog, that article will be seen by whoever is looking for it because it's available to the market. That's what we're talking about, search engine marketing. So we put out the blogs, we put it out there. Right now, they are 15 to 16. Now we have about 25 to 60 blogs ready that are already preset. And we're not talking about just blogs in text. This is in HTML code. So it's not just writing articles. It's about being very specific with our marketing, search engine marketing. So I'm talking about a website that is large. So last week we got on the call and the first thing I hear, because it's usually about three of us, and the first thing I hear is, hey, guess what? We made, and this was how it happened. I was like, wow, this is actually interesting. There were two people, there actually three, but one came in and he was like, hey, guess what happened? I said, what happened? It's like, we just made our $10,000 day in January. I said, what? I said, oh, that's great. About 15 minutes after into the call, the second person comes in and we're talking and I'm like, hey, congratulations. And I love what I'm seeing because they're different locations. I don't deal with finances. That's your business. All I do is to push the business forward. So what I get as feedback is as a result of what was implemented prior. So I said, okay, let's hear what he has to say to us. Like, congratulations. This is so exciting. He's like, yeah, by the way, it's actually not 10, it's 14.4K. I said, what? I said, okay, now we got it. Because first of all, the goal was to meet that point. Because when you think about a $5,000 investment, a $10,000 investment, you start thinking about how much are you going to see based on your locations, because you might have a small business and that may not be what you're paying for SEO because you don't need that. It's like saying I'm overfeeding you. Let's say I have a pot of rice and you can only eat maybe 10 spoons a day. How am I going to feed you 50 spoons a day? Yeah, you need that rice, but I'm not going to overfeed you because there's overcapacity. So you're not going to overpay for something that is over your budget. So that's a different discussion. So if it's $500 or $5,000, that's a different thing based on your business. So when you now look at the exchange in value, and now that's happening almost every other day, you've made your money back in one day. One. Two, now you're able to show up on the websites because people are still looking for the same products that you have. They have products that are $10,000, $2,000, $20, $2, stickers, all kinds of things because it's an actual store. So how do you take this store from being just online to being an actual real life experience? And that takes time to build. So they cashed out in their fourth month and we still have 2 months to go. And we still have another quarter and another year to take over. So now that we've established those grounds and those territories, we know, okay, 5 locations complete. Now, how do we scale? Because you can build a business, but how do you scale it? What's the turnkey? How do you take that to the next level? So that's how we're able to do it long term. And that's what happened with us in the fourth month. So just wanted to give you that insight as well. Hey, Millie, I see you as well. And Pierre says the 3-month period Favour is describing is very important to get your marketing aligned with your offering and how your media conveys the messaging to your customers and search. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Pierre. Welcome.
Hey, hey, good afternoon, and thanks, Favor. You know me, I love sitting in on your rooms and trying to support you as much as possible. So thanks for letting me even speak. Favor is absolutely right about the time period a bit. The biggest misconception with SEO, and this has been going back even before I started. I've been around now for about almost 17 years. Is that a lot of times people think that a lot of things are immediate, and that's true. But you need to remember that your customers are also looking online. And so you're trying to marry a couple of things together with your search. And you need a little bit of time to make adjustments. You're taking your best estimate of what you think the traffic is and then adjusting it based off of what you're seeing and also what products you offer. So a quick example would be, if you think about something like apple pie, okay? There's a lot of ways that people may search for apple pie. You may have customers that may be looking to bake a pie on their own, which means they're looking for ingredients and that type of stuff. You have people who are looking for bakeries who have an apple pie ready to go, so that way you can pick it up after work. And then you may have variants of apple pie. And we all know that, from our grandmothers, aunties, and tias, and uncles, and people who cook, that they may have variations of a dessert. And even something like apple cobbler could come up, or maybe say a small apple pie, or even let's say catering desserts for a huge event. All these have different purposes behind it, and your business needs to match up to it as best as possible. If you know you're offering apple pie as a bakery, then that type of information will adjust your SEO and what you emphasize on. Same thing if you are offering ingredients for apple pie, or if you're a big caterer who just loves to do catering for desserts for different events. Each one of these are different use purposes, so you have to be very honest about it. Like Favor said, the 3 months makes a difference, and you also can make adjustments that can match up to your business. Favor, I hope that helps, and I hope I didn't talk too much.
That was so helpful. Thank you, Pierre. The 3 months is so important. Even on Pinterest too. The fourth month is when you really like see the results. And patience pays. Patience is a virtue. It's a real thing. Because when people say, hey, it's taking all this long, why is it not working? I'm like, if it wasn't working before, it has to take time to work because you're talking to a new algorithm, you're talking to a new system. And the best way to create capacity is to build it. So if you're going to create that capacity and create it to a way that it can allow a lot more people to be there, then you have to build the space for them to feel welcome. They have to feel connected. And that's where that personalization comes in with search engine marketing. You can't use regular or general terms to describe specific, I'll call them pain solution driven conversations, because someone's online looking for a solution and you have the solution right there. How will they know? If you put in brackets PDF, or in brackets video, or in brackets tutorial or course, or put in brackets consultation, or put in brackets something that will match that I'll call that offer, then it's easier for someone to connect with you on a deeper level because they know that they're looking for this in real time. So there are so many searches out there in the world that are pretty much just there, and they're available because every day there are 15% of new searches happening on a daily basis. So if we're getting close to 20 billion searches, anywhere between 12 to 20 billion searches roughly on a scale within Google, then if there are 15% of new searches every day and there are 63, I'll say 365 days in a year, or 366, depending on if it's a leap year, then how are you going to use every week to spend a little time, just a little time, and put it online and let people find you when they need that information? Because that important factor of using search engines in today's time is so important, because everything you're using right now is search engine based. It's been built within an algorithm to set an objective. So if you're creating content and you want to rank for a specific, not even keyword, but if you want to rank for a conversation, if you want to rank for a result, if you want to rank for an experience, then take out the word keyword and look for paragraphs, look for stories, look for information, look for statistics, look for things that people can find. And when you can see the results from what they can see off of your perspective, then you're building authorship, you're building relationships, and you're also building domain authority, which is a good thing for your business. So your search engine marketing is not just about creating content. It's about answering the questions that people are frequently asking, and then finding out how your result is a more convenient result, or a better result, or an alternative result. Because you're not the one that's going to choose for them. They're going to choose for themselves. But for them to make a decision and have you in mind, your role would be to create an experience that they can't forget. And that's based on how you present yourself. If you go to a restaurant and the way they present themselves, the way they treat you, the way you sit down, the way you eat the food, everything is top tier. And you take the same experience to a different location, but just flip a few things, you're not going to get the same full dose. It's going to be a little bit different. And because you experienced it better the first time, you don't want something less than what you've already standardized. So the goal is to create a long-term impression by building capacity within your website. So if you have 10 posts on Instagram today, and those are 10 posts that are for your business profile, do you have 10 pages on your website that can individually connect to one of these Instagram pages simultaneously? If the answer is yes, that's a good thing because you can use that as a way to create momentum and build indexability for your business when you now use email marketing and communication systems. But if the answer is no, then you're spending more time on social media platforms that are second party oriented. Because why is it second party? It's second party because you don't own it, but you can control it. And Rachel has a question, I'll come to that too. You own your content, yes, but you don't own the proprietary information or the I'll call it the intellectual property within the asset you're building, which is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, because those are platforms that are already active within networks that you don't own. But you can control your analytics, you can control your number of reels, you can control your videos, you can control your captions, you can do all that good stuff. But you're using that to drive traffic. Because when you hear the word drive traffic, nobody drives to a no destination. People drive to a destination. So when you're driving traffic, where are you driving them to? You don't drive because you have gas. You drive because you have somewhere to go. So the question really is, when you do search engine marketing, where do you want people to go?
Hey, Favor, I just want to let you know too. I invited Rachel up. She had a question in the chat, and I thought it'd be nice if she to let her ask her question if possible. Is
Of
that okay?
course. Hey, Rachel, welcome. We'd love to hear the question live. I was going to say it, but you're here, so please feel free. We'd love to hear more about it. Tell us about you, your business, and we'd love to hear your question. Thank you.
Hi, so actually, I haven't been on Clubhouse for a while, so this is like my first time in years. But I'm so grateful I came across this room, and thank you so much. So actually, right now, I'm dabbling in like I have like a few Shopify websites, and I got this product, which I'm from India, like a trending product. So basically, it's like I'm like running meta ads, but there is like a timing during the day when the ads work the best, and that is like in the evenings, because I think that is when people get free from work and all that. So the thing that I'm struggling with right now is that the timing of it, like if I switch off the ads, if I switch them back on, then they don't run as well, and then I'm not getting as many sessions on my store. So that's the thing.
Rachel,
Okay.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Favor. Ads. You figured out, if I hear you correctly, you figured out the timing in which the ads are being shown, but you've decided to cut off those ads on those outside times. Am I understanding the scenario correctly?
Yeah, so it's like during the evenings the ads work the best. So during like the mornings, like I'll switch off the ads, and then I'll switch them back on at the timing that I want, probably like an hour before, because sometimes it takes some time for the ads to pick up, and then it just doesn't work the same.
So are you getting less conversions then from when you cut it back on? Is that the idea?
Yeah, like the sessions on the store, like they just really drop for some reason. But the ad budget spends.
Hmm. I I'm going to take a little stab at this. I would think if it's the sessions that's dropping off, and I don't have the metrics in front of me, but you usually have in any sort of social media, you have like number of sessions of when, or even impressions when an ad is being served, and then you have then there should be some level of conversion from that where they're going to a landing page. And a lot of times, I haven't looked at the Meta dashboard in a hot minute, but I would say if you're cutting them off, you definitely are sort of cutting off the impressions where those ads could be seen and kind of lowering the likelihood of getting some conversions from that, and that may be part of the issue. I know part of it is you've identified the timing in which the ads are being shown, and that's a good thing. But I think when you start my impression is if you start cutting that on and off at those times, you are sort of, it takes a little bit for those things to ramp up. Without looking at the metrics, I can't tell off the bat, but that's my initial guess off of that. Um, I'll land here. Favor, I'll let you go ahead and speak. I hope I was adding to the conversation here.
Thank you, Pierre. Yeah, it definitely makes sense that you've looked at it from that perspective of timing, because this is what I would say, Rachel, before I even respond to the question, because I have some calculations I want to share with you. Right now, when you're running ads, are you solely depending on ads, or are you also organically marketing the products within the Shopify store to social and search platforms?
Okay, so like I have like a specific target, so I am kind of reaching like those number of orders that I need in a day by running the ads. So for now, since it's been like just a few months that I've been doing this, like I'm just using paid ads, but it's like the amount, like the cost of acquisition is very low, which is a good thing for me for now. So that is why I'm just using paid ads.
Okay, so you're only using paid ads, but you're not using organic at all.
Not as of now. I'm still learning about that.
It could be lower than what it is.
Okay.
Because you talked about Meta and you're running ads. Do you have your pixels installed?
Yes.
Okay, when you're sending traffic from second-party websites like Facebook.com, where ad?
Right to the product, like not to the not to like the main website, but just on the product for which I'm marketing. That's the link.
So you're sending them to a web link, but it's within a web page only specifically for that product on a website.
Yeah, for which I'm running the ad. Product which I'm running the meta ad for, it's the product page.
Okay, what's the problem?
So it's like nowadays, like pickleball is really trending. So pickleball paddles. So the product is really trending and it's selling. It's just that I'm just really off with this on and off thing that I'm doing on Meta. Like, because sometimes just the ads won't pick up or the ad budget will like spend and all of the timings I'm getting a little off. But it's pickleball paddles.
Are you controlling the budget, or you want to control the ad spend as far as conversions is concerned?
Yes, I do want to control like the ad spend as well. Yeah.
If you're controlling the ad spend, then you're stalling or impeding the progress of the commercial. Because if it's a commercial, yes, like a Super Bowl, for example, in a month from now, there'll be commercials. Yes, that's one time. Great. Now, if you're looking at it from the time that they spend the most active responses with you, because I don't know if you're doing email marketing, I haven't asked all those questions. I'm looking at it from just a search engine marketing standpoint when you run ads only. When you only run ads just to those platforms or to those places, without having SEO, which is organic, then you're going to be spending way more money in the end to receive the same thing you could have spent your time on if you planted those seeds earlier within the year. Because if pickleball is the product, and I know about this because there's a client we're about to start working with, and she's doing amazingly well with something with pickleball too. So me asking that question really gave me an idea because she has an app. So I'm looking at app store optimization, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be happening very soon, and it's something that is happening newly, even in the US too. Pickleball, even places that are being built, homes, they have pickleball courts. So I know that this is a trend, and it's something that is valuable. And yes, it is merging or emerging. Yes, that's great. But right now, we're in January. When it comes to February, there's going to be pickleball, whatever that you want to call it, into the season. And then also looking at the weather of wherever the location is. That's why I talked about location being important, because you're in India and I see it's Delhi. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
It's
Delhi.
Delhi. Okay, so in Delhi, they're about, let me just do the math again. Yes, so there are 31 million people in Delhi right now, according to Google's index. And in India, there are 488 million people. This is index wise. This is not
Mm-hmm.
census. This is just search wise. So there are 488 million people. So that's about 6.35% of traffic that you're getting from the API systems that you're running within those ad spaces. So if you're going to run ads and you want to get conversions, the first thing is to not turn them off. If you want to turn them off, that's what is already stalling. That's the answer to your question. That because those things, it will change. Because right now, with the way things are going with AI technology, it's changing. Right now, people could be searching for your products on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Google, right? And they'll find your content there. But a time is coming that things are going to start changing, which is already happening before our eyes. I've talked about this before. There's an AI browser. There's a ChatGPT AI browser called Atlas. There's a Perplexity browser called Comet. And now there's about to be a Google browser or Google AI browser called Disco. So when people start searching, how are they going to find you in those places? Because if you're not showing up on ChatGPT, on Siri, Alexa, on Google, on some platform, and you keep spending money on ads, at some point it's going to run out, and it's not sustainable as a business. That's why all these brands, if you look at pickleball, if I look at the macro and the micro, there are ways that you can scale it that will benefit your brand long term, so that you're able to have a higher valuation than just running ads for the purpose of sales and profit margins. So I look at it from two different perspectives, but the way you're going with it is very specific. But the way you're going to get the best result out of what you're building is by using the same page that you're sending people to on your website to a place that they can feel connected to without having for you to run ads every time. Because what would be better for you, Rachel? Would it be better for someone to purchase a product from your store without you having to lift a finger, or do you have to lift your finger every time for them to respond?
Yeah, you're right. Organic marketing and all of that is 100% definitely better. Like for the longer run, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to save you on money, save you on time, save you on energy, because it's something that is very specific. And if you can use 2 to 3 months out to say, okay, pickleball, what is pickleball dating? What is pickleball challenge? What is pickleball battles? What is pickleball the sport? What is pickleball? Who are the champions of pickleball? Who are the top pickleball players? Whatever that is going to bring back into pickleball is going to be sports related and topic related and interest related. So when you now create content and you're sending them to those pages, whenever you run ads, you should be having it at a lower cost per click. So that's a better way for you to have that approach, because search engine marketing is within Google. And you mentioned meta marketing, because meta marketing is not search engine marketing. Because meta marketing is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Threads. That's social media. That's advertising. That's social media based. So search engine marketing is Google, because you can't run keywords, quote unquote, on Facebook, but you can run keywords on Pinterest. You can run keywords on YouTube. You can run keywords on Google. So that they're two separate platforms. So if you're spending so much money on the pre-click phase and the post-click phase on a social media platform, when search-wise there's no indexing or page relevance or page awareness or brand awareness, then it's going to be hard for you to scale long term. So I'm just giving you the core fundamentals so that when you're looking at it long term and saying in 2026, we're almost at the end of January. What have we accomplished? What have we done? What have we measured? And how can we use what we've measured in this month to now take care of the next 11 months out? So I hope that answered your question, Rachel, when it comes to the difference between those two and how you can use it for your marketing.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate your guys' time. And yeah, I'm definitely going to learn more about Google, SEO, and all of that. But I recently got into this, like the Shopify market. So I recently learned like Meta. So yes, that's the next step now. Organic marketing, SEO, and Google is definitely, like you said, like now ChatGPT having its own browser and Atlas and where everything is going, that's definitely the route to go for the betterment in the longer run. So thank you guys.
You are welcome, Rachel. Yes, think 10 years from now. Think demi-decades from now, 5 years out. Where are we going? Where are we going to look like, or what are we going to be doing in 10 years? So if we can use 24 months out of a 10-year cycle to plan ahead, then you've spent 20% of what you could gain in a decade cycle over and over again. So I'm looking at this as legacy, as long-term, as impact, and it's always better to start slow and think smart so that when you plan fast, you're planning accordingly because you're proofreading, you're taking your time, you're testing, you're evaluating, you're processing, you're not in a hurry, you're not trying to make a sale today or tomorrow. Your goal is to make impact, and then that impact will now take its own shape. If there's something that happens and it's an impact, you're going to see the impact because it creates an effect. So that's where we want to create that effect on. And definitely, please feel free to click the link above. I always send out emails about SEO marketing. To your benefit, Rachel, I'll be talking about Shopify marketing. It's one of the topics I'm going to be bringing here because I have a huge list of episodes and topics that I want to discuss this year. So I'm going to be talking about them very early so that we can kick those fundamentals. So Shopify is one of them. So I wanted to just let you know. But this was so good, and I love that you're able to mention that. Pierre, what would you tell Rachel too when it comes to search engine marketing and also analytics too? Because that's also a very big point to consider when you look at pathways and patterns.
I would say I want to build on the point you mentioned about checking at the month. I want to. Oh, I cannot talk today. Apologize. There's a lot going on. Don't get a chance to catch a breath sometimes. Um, Checking monthly is a good idea at the beginning. Many times, but the one mistake I've seen from people a little bit is that sometimes they try to check too frequently, and that doesn't give enough time for a pattern to develop or to give you informed information. You want to be able to have a sense of where your internet presence is online in terms of, are people coming to your website? Are people coming through to your website from social media? There's a lot of social media that where those postings also can help on your SEO if you're doing something through Pinterest. I know Medium, for example, if you are a writer, that's actually a lot of those posts do show up. If you plan the topic correctly, those posts do show up on a search query. All those things can help your customers discover you, but you need to give a little bit of time on what is happening most frequently, and you don't really get that within a few days all the time. So you want to be able to use this as sort of think of SEO as passive aggressive marketing in some cases where you're trying to get a sense of the pattern and then make an adjustment, and this is where your analytics comes into play. Most the tools like each tool kind of has a piece of the answer to that puzzle. Google Search Console can help you to figure out what queries are coming to your website, but you still need the Google Analytics to kind of figure out, are people coming to that site? Are they converting? Which means, are they reaching the points in your site where they're clicking on a web page? Are they clicking on a particular page or button that you want them to do? Those are conversions, the number of visits of which people are clicking on the things you want. So give you, like I said, the biggest message I can give you is definitely look at periodically how you're doing, and don't assume. And the one thing I would say is, don't assume this as one platform may be wrong as much as it is. You're trying to figure, you're always going to have maybe a few platforms where the majority of customers come, maybe a few more where there's some customers and they're not quite as much, but make comparisons on how they're spending time and where they're converting. And that can tell you which arrangement is most valuable to your business and probably could use maybe some investment. It will guide your decisions and guide your resources, so that way the biggest piece is that you don't get overwhelmed, because right now there are a lot of ways in which people can work with you online, and you want to narrow it down to the ones where your customers frequent the most, and you can kind of respond naturally and frequently and conveniently, most of all. So I hope that helps as well, Rachel.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm writing down, taking all notes. And yes, thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Very, very great questions. If you have a question, please put in the chat. And if you're also here and you have a pink ticket, please feel free to join the marketing club at the very top. The marketing club, we actually just crossed over 353,000 members here. So we are 353,002 members in this marketing club house. So it's been amazing. And I've been on Clubhouse. This is going to be 6 years on Clubhouse. Yeah, 6 years. Welcome, Adam. I'll be 6 years on Clubhouse this November 24th, God willing. And I've seen a lot and I've connected with a lot of people. And it's great to be on Clubhouse and share this information with you. Because yesterday I talked about email marketing. I talked about the best practices for email marketing. And if you're on LinkedIn, check out my LinkedIn. You'll be able to see the newsletter. I talked about it. If you click the link above, you'll also get the same information too. So I give insights that are very specific, like actionable things you can do on your own. Because at the end of the day, we're a lot of people out here. We're 8 billion. So if I can help one and the one helps the other, I have one less person to worry about because that person is taken care of. So the more we're able to do that power of one-to-one and help each other get more clearer in our discovery and our delivery and our representation and how we deliver things, because we're just learning on the whim. We're just going. I'm learning too. So the more I'm learning, the more I'm understanding. The more I know, the more I don't know. So I'm able to use what I understand to know, okay, how do I use this as research? How do I make sure that it's making sense? I've never come here with a script. You've never heard me talking about, point 2, point 3, point 4, and then I'm out. We have conversations here and it's in real time. So it's something that I love to do because I want to make sure that as I'm helping you and I'm showing you what I'm doing with, our businesses, with brands that are out here making great strides, showing up on Amazon, showing up on Google, showing up on ChatGPT, on Gemini, they're doing so well. I'm like, wow, I definitely want to share that with you too, so that you can also see that it's possible, because sometimes we don't hear about this or talk about this all the time. So the major blend that I would say today, if you look at search engine marketing and SEO best practices, is when you consider search engine marketing as a supplementary tool. And this is what I mean. When you do search engine marketing, your goal is to gain dominance. That's the first thing, is to gain dominance. Because when you're gaining dominance, you're using your domain as an anchor point. Whether you use an email marketing platform or you use a scheduling platform or payment platform, your website is still going to be there. Even when you connect to your Stripe, they're going to ask you for your website. So you can't say that I don't have a website or I'm not going to use a website for anything marketing wise, because I don't know what marketing that would be in 2026. You need a website, whether it's on Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, Shopify, Duda, Tilda, It doesn't matter. There are many platforms out there you can be on. There's Magento. There's many I can mention. And I've seen them all, and they all have, even GoDaddy, but I only use GoDaddy as a website. I'll use it for domain and hosting, but you can start there too. But the essence is to build a website, build a long-term standing platform that can allow you to scale, because your domain is your name. You can always change your location, but you might change your name once, but as far as your location, you can always change that. And that location is your website. You can change your landing page, you can change your about page, you can change your website, you can move from Wix to WordPress and back to Shopify and back again. It's all on you. That's 100% your choice, which is 100% your satisfaction rate, which is great, because from that point, you're able to know what works best for you. What might work for you may not work for someone else. So we're all different, so we can't cookie cutter it. So the whole idea is to use your website as a point of reference, that if you are domain verified and you have a website and you send emails, those emails are going to help you, because I talked about it yesterday with email marketing. When you send out an email, your email is technically your website. You're sending people to your website from your website, because you're using your same domain, info at, hello at, your name at, which is your website, which is in the form of something called a mail exchange record in your DNS. So even if you're sending an email from Honeybook, I use Honeybook too. If you're sending if an automatic message is coming from Calendly, you're getting that too. If you're getting an email from a website, we use Flowdesk as well. But we're about to have a meeting tomorrow with partners tomorrow on Flowdesk. That's an email marketing platform. That's where you can also connect with people. And those are different platforms that have your website connected. So when you think about search engine marketing, it's about let me just say this in a very nice way that will be very clear. And I'll say it this way. If your website has more talk time outside your own domain, that's a win. And what I mean is, if people can discover your website outside your website directly, if they're on Apple, they find your website. If they're on ChatGPT, they find your website. If they're on YouTube, they find your website. If you're on Threads, they find your website. They're somewhere else other than your website, and they can find your website. The more that they can find your website, the more authority and the more search signals that you grow, because when you get more email subscribers, you get more signups, you get more leads, that's going to help your business grow long term. So you're able to now know how you connect with people. Last year, we worked with 100 businesses and we had a 45% close rate. And it's been amazing to see where I've looked at it this year and I said, okay, if we were able to do 45 out of 100, if we multiply that times 2, that's 200. And if we do 140, that's a great thing, because we're able to do more because we can scale with what we've already presented. All last year, all the information I did last year and did through research is still available and still applicable today. It's just a different year, but the season is the same. So if we're about to go into the spring, then what are people looking for in the spring? What are people going to be looking for in the summer? So we've helped businesses, we've helped them understand where they can take their business to the next level. And it's great to see where they are today, and they're doing so well. So when I look at that and I ask you as a business, as your own, I would say, boss, which is true, how would you want to show up online for the people that you serve? Because we're not trying to show up because we're trying to say, hey, buy me, or hey, try this or do that. Our goal is to have a conversation. There's no conversion that didn't start as a conversation. So if the conversation is not making sense, it's not going to make sense. And that is, if it doesn't make sense, SENSE, it's not going to make any sense. CENTS. That's a double entendre. So when you look at your business long term, from today henceforth, from tomorrow henceforth, from now henceforth, how do you project your business out so that more people that are showing up on platforms can find you? If you use X, if you use Threads, if you use WhatsApp, if you use any platform out there, Instagram, TikTok, and you're sending people to your website, you're sending people to your landing page, but that landing page is on your website, and that's a specific page that is being used for something. right? Because the difference between a website and a landing page is that a landing page doesn't have a header and a footer, but a website does. That's the major difference. If we call a spade, that's what it is. So when you look at it from a long-term perspective as a business, how are you going to engage with people that when they land on your page, they're not leaving? Because the only way they can leave is by closing the tab. But if they have a website, you can now switch from different tabs or click through and do all the good stuff. So how do you want to narrate, or how do you want to build that in that capacity that someone can click from here? They click this button, it takes them to step 2. They go to step 2, they make a purchase. Because the smaller and the shorter the number of steps somebody has to take marketing wise, and the faster they're able to understand what they're doing within the time frame they have, is better. That's why when you book an event on Eventbrite, or you book a flight, or you're booking something online, there's a timer, right? It could be 15 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, because you may have to get your card on file. You might need to use your Apple Pay, you might need to use Samsung Pay, Google Pay, credit card, debit card, anything that you're going to use to make sure that you make your purchase is within a 15-minute time frame. So that if you think about 15 minutes, that's a quarter of an hour. So when you think about a quarter of an hour times 4, that's 60 minutes. So when you start calculating these numbers times all these scientific terms, we can call them, but just look at it from the point of perspective, even if it's psychology based, on how are people receiving this information. If I've been running ads all month and I know that the peak was the first and the third week, then I know that second week and fourth week, I may run less ads. So if I'm spending $5 a day in the first and the third week, I may spend $1 or $2 in between. It doesn't mean I have to turn it off. But most people will run ads and then put a stop date. When you put a stop date, that's a stop sign. And that's going to end up as a stop because it's a stop sign. The better option, or the better way to do it, because we're talking about best practices, right? The better way to do it is to just leave it off. Don't turn it off. When you want to turn it off, but don't turn it off manually. In other words, I want to say this in a way that makes sense. When you run an ad and it says, okay, this is the start date and this is the end date. If you put a start date and you put an end date, you've manually said, I want this to start on this date and to stop at this date. So instead, the end date, leave it up. It's always optional. You don't need to put an end date. Most platforms, if not all. The start date is definitely important because you can't start in the past and you can't start just haphazardly. There needs to be a start date, either scheduled ahead or on time. And then when you schedule it, it goes. So let's say you want to stop running ads and you know that, okay, when it hits 7 days, when it hits 21 days, when it hits 90 days, you want this to turn off, put it on your calendar and then manually turn it off and go to the ad itself and then say, turn off. When you turn it off, it's good. And you know why this is happening? Because the closer you're getting to the end date that you scheduled, the less the priority your ad is being given to the algorithm. So the better way to do it is just switch it off. It's like an emergency brake, right? Once you do that, you can always turn it back on and continue from where you left off. I tested that last year I used $30, I used $90, and I did $1 a day for 90 days last year from January through March. And it was just based on pure data. And it was very insightful to see what I saw. And I was using Meta just for the purpose of getting information about topics of interest. And that allowed me to use that. And it's been great till now. So I'm looking at this year again and I'm like, okay, now from what I've understood, how can I make it better for people to see? Because I wasn't talking best practices. I was just talking about evaluations and testing and concepts. But now I'm like, people want to take action. I think from what I've been feeling and what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing through email, social media, and otherwise, people want actions. People want to take actions. Yes, it's great to know that there's AEO and AIO and all these things, but what does it do for them? And if there's nothing in return, it's going to be a problem. So we don't want that to be a problem to begin with. Hey, K. Patrice and Vanessa, thanks for being here too. And Justice as well. So your goal is to build that capacity and make sure that more people can see you over time. Pierre, what do you think about that too, long-term wise?
I'm going to, I'll be real brief because I do need to jump off a bit. But I will say this real quickly. I think all of this is about trying to think strategically over time what you're offering online and trying to match up between how people are searching for it versus what you offer. And as I alluded to it a little bit earlier, it's not something that just is automatic. It may feel like it, but it's not. It takes a little bit of effort. And the challenge that most small business owners has, as Favors touched upon this quite a bit too, is that you don't have infinite amount of resources, obviously, but you want to guide your resources towards the things where your customers are responding. So your job is to really pay close attention to it. And I think a lot of the tips that Favors giving not only today, but he's done this in his room a number of times. That's why I usually just kind of sit in and try to support as much as possible. Is that it's a lot of steps that you're going to have to, you hear it, scribble the notes, but organize it as closely as you can to what you are doing. If you think you can get some traction from it, great. If you can't, this is why SEO people like a Favor and my area, I do analytics. I kind of touch upon this quite a bit. This is where we come in to help you. Anybody who's helping you should be helping you organize your messaging such that you can connect with your customers and get that conversion. And as Favor said, that should be happening regardless of where your website is. Because right now in 2026, having a website is not is a non-starter at this point. You have to have something out there, and all websites are software, which means you need to make adjustments along the way. And SEO, whether however it's done, helps you to do that. So I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to jump Favor, because I really got to get some writing and some things done. But I'll gladly join. You know how I am. I'll join in with you anywhere you are.
Thank you, Pierre. Appreciate you. And I'll be here tomorrow. I put it on the schedule. I'll be talking about LinkedIn SEO best practices tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central. So I'll be
Okay,
here.
I'll try to jump in. I got a couple things popping, but I should be able to jump in. I'll talk to you soon.
Listen and ask yourself, after all you've heard today, because I know it's a lot, and I also don't want to overwhelm you either. Rewind, listen to this, play back, sit back, reflect, and also plan ahead. And then you're able to do it in a really, really good way that will help you in the best way possible. Dr. Miles Monroe, he said this, Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said this, something that is so important for me to share with you. And I don't know why it's coming to me, but I feel like it's something I probably need to say. Dr. Miles Monroe, if you've ever heard of him before, he mentioned this in a video, and it stuck with me a lot. And this makes a lot of sense. And it's biblical, it's logical, it's practical. Literally, all three in one. Faith is the highest form of planning. That's what I heard. And makes sense. Faith without works is dead. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. These are things we've heard over and over again. So if we look at search engine marketing and we are planning for the future and we're planning ahead of time, because we know that at some point in time, it's going to be spring, it's going to be Valentine's, it's going to be Happy New Year again, it's going to be something all over again, it's going to be your birthday soon. So how are you going to create the effect, the impact based on the planning ahead of time? Anything you plan for that works well is well planned ahead of time. So with search engine marketing, the whole idea of everything I'm discussing today is planning. So you need to plan ahead, plan your keywords, plan the conversation, plan the call to action. Is it a book they want to buy or read? Is it free shipping? If it is information that they have to gather, if it's a challenge, if it is a tool, whatever it is that they got to use to make sure that it is understandable and is applicable to them, then now is the time to plan ahead for that. So anytime you're planning ahead, as you're listening to this, planning anywhere between 2 to 3 months ahead out of time. 2 to 3 is safe, because platforms like Pinterest, once we hit April, May, people will start planning for Christmas trees. That usually happens every year. So people plan ahead of time. People plan flights ahead of time. You plan your life ahead of time. So when you're planning search engines ahead of time, you know that at some point in time, people are going to be on the search engines because school's out, or people are home, or this is downtime time. So there's very specific things to look out for, and your analytics will be your best friend. especially if you do this consistently and concurrently. Analytics would be your best friend. And honestly, when I think about analytics, yes, you can go to all your favorite platforms for analytics, but your most important analytics set is your email. If you're able to know, especially with Flowdesk, the way they do it is so well. When you're able to know exactly when within the hour blocks of your day, because there are 4 quarters within a day, right? There's 6-hour blocks 4 times. So 6 times 4, 24. So if there are 6-hour blocks and there are 4 sets, and you're breaking that down into time and day, and because date is day and time evaluation, that's the acronym for date, day and time evaluation. So when you look at the date and you're planning ahead, what is the evaluation of your process? What have you tested before the time you want to actually implement the prototype or fill in the blank? So your goal as a business is to look at it, welcome Jay, as growing into a system of understanding where your search engines are going to be representing you as a business long term. Now, the last thing I'll say here is there's something called tokenization. Welcome, Stacy. There's something called tokenization. What does this mean? Tokenization is just another way of saying original and duplicate. In other words, when you have an original and duplicate, right? An original is coming from your website. A duplicate is coming off of the original, right? When you duplicate a page, you duplicate a page off of the original. So you have an original copy and you have the duplicate copy. Why am I saying this? Because I talked about this last time, and now this is where it's all coming back together. That's why I'm being very specific about search engine marketing in its very intricate sense. The reason why I'm very specific about this is there are 2 dates to consider. There is a date that is published and there's a date that is modified, right? So the date that you publish your article or your product, let's say you have a product and you published this product last year. If you didn't update that product page on your website, it still has a last modified date, which was a year ago. So there's nothing new to the page that has been updated. Doesn't mean that you have to do it every day, but within a specific type of cycle, knowing your frequency and knowing how you're able to plan out your schedule, it's going to be way easier for you to know better how you can take point A to point B because you have a schedule ahead of time. So when you create content and you use that formula to build out your schedule, you're going to be way ahead of time, because when you use your analytics from your email marketing platform, look at the last 7 days, look at the last 30 days, look at the last 90 days, and then look at the all time. When you're able to see all those things and know what time of the day people check out your emails, then those will be your peak times, because every business has a high peak and a low peak season. So yours is going to be different from mine. Mine is going to be different from yours. So we can't be in the same time zone thinking the same way. We have to think differently because there are different approaches to different things. So the better the positioning, the timing wise, the better your outcome, because you're able to have more results because you planned ahead for it. So it's something I wanted just to mention. And Darani, thank you for being here. Welcome to the Marketing Club. I hope you're enjoying yourself here. Feel free to ask any question. The floor is yours as we about to wrap up. Thank you for being here today and Happy New
Sure,
Year.
sure, sure.
Do you have a question?
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about content marketing, like in Instagram, LinkedIn?
In what context specifically about LinkedIn, Instagram, content marketing wise?
There are many digital marketing firms who are into like SEOs, email marketing, and they create like analytics with a single poster and text. And how does it make a difference between a video and a creative content marketing?
Yes, I would just say this, and this is what I talked about today. And I'm glad you asked this question because it will bring it back into in the context for what we're discussing today. Content marketing wise, I break it down into 2 actually. There's content marketing and there's context marketing. I always say content is king and context is queen. When there's logic and emotion that is creating a flow, and it is in a positive direction, then there's going to be an upstream and there's going to be something that will create a connection within. So why I'm giving you this too is when you think about Instagram and LinkedIn and all these platforms, yes, they're available. People can post captions, you can post things, it's great. But these are the same very platforms that if they shut down today or tomorrow, or you can't log in because of one reason or the other, your audience is locked in or locked out. It's pretty much done at that point because you can't connect with them. And it's happening a couple of times before. We've seen that in the recent past. So when you think about content marketing, don't think about social media first. That's the first thing to say. When you think about content marketing, start from your website, because your website is where your content is springing from. If I have 5 points to give you, and I have 5 points from my blog or my article on my website, then I know whether it's a business website, a personal website, a corporate website, however you want it to call the website, within its name. The idea of the website having a blog is a good thing because of those things I mentioned earlier, the last modification date and the last published date. Because when I mentioned tokenization earlier, which is to your question too, which is perfect timing, tokenization is a duplicate copy. So if you posted something on Instagram 2 days ago, there's a date stamp on that post on your Instagram. So it says 2 days ago, this is what you posted. That's a date stamp. Now, you can't change that date stamp because that was when it was last posted. That's why it's a second party platform. You can control it, but you don't own it. And content is something you want to control and own because it's your content, it's your intellectual property. So we're going back into the fundamentals. So when you post something 2 days ago, that's what it looks like on Instagram. If you published an article, this is the major difference, and that's why I'm giving you this analogy. If you publish the same topic or whatever the article was talking about, contextually connected to the Instagram post you published for, I'll call it engagement. If you posted an article 2 days ago, then you have a date published and you also have a date modified. Or rather, you have a published date and you have a modified date. So with these two dates, think about it like the back two wheels and the front two wheels of your car, right? On Instagram, you're only dealing with maybe call it the front two wheels, because you can control the front, you can steer left and right, but you're not really moving anywhere because the back is static. So when I look at it from that analogy, because I love to give you like examples in that way so that you're able to look and factor in and say, okay, where am I spending my time, money, energy, and so on and so forth. So because you can use your website, you have a last published date, which is something you can control based on when you posted it. And you also have a last modified date because you can go back and modify the original text, which you own. So if you can own and control it, content marketing now becomes where you can own content and then publicly publish information within a domain system, which is your website. And when people go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Threads, and you're using social media marketing because that's where people go to, that's a good place for you to see what kind of content people are looking out for. Now, to bridge in the gap, just to give you this, because I love giving actionable tips, there's a website called meetglimpse.com. And if you go there, you will see a website that will give you data. It looks like Google Trends, but I call it a supercharged Google Trends tool. And it would show you, if you type in whatever topic of interest that you're focusing on, product-wise, service-wise, B2B, B2C, D2C, anything in between, C2C, marketplace, because there are different types of business operations. When you type in what product or service you offer and you publish it and you post it out there, it will tell you the social media platforms that resonate with that topic the most. There's also another website called SparkToro, SparkToro.com. That's a social audio listening platform. And these are two websites that you can use to know where are people talking about my information or my perspective or my business the most or my industry the most. If it's LinkedIn, great. Go to LinkedIn, create a newsletter, focus on your titles, because whenever you write a newsletter on LinkedIn, the very letters and words that you use in your LinkedIn, which I'll be talking about tomorrow, just to give you a little trailer, when you use LinkedIn as a content marketing platform, quote unquote, and you're using LinkedIn to publish content. Now, the published content that is on LinkedIn is going to be saying linkedin.com, which is not your website, slash the article name, or if it's an article, to be pulse slash, then it's going to also have the keywords. Now, if the keywords that you wrote in your title were not the keywords or topics of interest, or they were not the keyword density based primary set of words that you want to use to bring to that industry based on topical search, then it's going to be hard for you to match your content marketing to the content search, if that makes sense. So you're creating content on LinkedIn, and if it is saying best ways to organically grow your marketing online, that's a lot of words. I would switch that and say social media marketing best practices in 2026. When you do that, and you now go to the settings section on LinkedIn within your newsletter, and you see something that says create URL, even if you don't click create URL, automatically, once you publish that article, it's already connected. And you can't, and the best thing about this, and why I say this importantly, is like YouTube and LinkedIn are known for this. LinkedIn, when you publish an article or publish a newsletter on LinkedIn, you can't change the URL. So the title of that newsletter is exactly the same URL format that it's going to turn into. And you can't go back and change it. Even if you change the title of your key phrase, it's not going to change, because it even tells you when it creates URL, it says this cannot be undone. You can't undo this action. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. The second thing is YouTube. YouTube does this too. When you upload a video on YouTube, this is content marketing based, because we're talking about search engines. LinkedIn is not search engine. You can call it a search engine, quote unquote, because it's Microsoft, but it's a social media platform primarily. So when you look at the same thing on YouTube, when you upload an MP4 on YouTube, whether it's a short or a video, and you publish that video, you can always change the title, you can always change the thumbnail, you can always change the tags, but you can never change the URL. You can never change that MP4 extension, that file extension. You can't change it. You'd have to re-upload that same video twice if you want to archive the last one, if you made a mistake. So that's why it's called a root directory. So content marketing is starting from the root. What is the file name of your image file? What is the file name of your MP3? What is the file name of your MP4? Before you upload a podcast, before you upload a video, don't let it be abc123.mp4, because it's not going to do any good to the algorithm, because you're going into the root. So if ChatGPT is sourcing files and that text is not in the file name directory, it's going to skip over yours, because it doesn't have time to scan or understand that language if it wasn't presented or perceived in the first form of data representation. So it's very important to look at these things. That's why I'm saying, Dharani, that when you look at content marketing, don't just think about when to post, where to post, what time to post. That's great. It's all fine. But when you're able to use your website as a point of standard and a point of connection, that's when you know when people are awake. That's when you know people need downtime. That's when you know people can spend their time with you. And email marketing wise will now fall definitely into content marketing, because you always want to create that full loop cycle. So let me know if you have any questions, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Dharani. That was a great question. If you have a question, welcome, Terry. Let me know as well. I see you as well, Stockberry. Thanks for being here. I wanted to make sure that I tackled this question fully. Search engine marketing is not SEO marketing, because search engine marketing is dealing with paid advertising, and SEO, which is search everywhere optimization, or you can call it search engine optimization, it is organic based. So when you have search engine marketing, you're dealing with marketing on a search engine. And what is a search engine? Google, YouTube, Pinterest. Those are search engines. Social media marketing, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. So those are two completely different stratospheres, if I can call them that. So I hope this helped you and gave you some information. I'll be here again tomorrow talking about LinkedIn SEO best practices for marketing visibility. And I'll talk about these things and give you insights. So let me know if you have any questions. But if you would like to get emails and information just like this, in your inbox. Click the link above and sign up and let me know what's your topic of interest, and let's make it official. Sign up, let's get on a call, let's talk about it. If you want to skip the call, that's fine too, but at least get into the email so that you can get information that you need if you have any questions about digital marketing, SEO, or anything that's related to marketing as a whole. So thank you, Rachel. That was a great question. Dharani, thank you as well. You're both appreciated. I really thank you so much for also joining as well, Dharani, because I see you also have a ticket. So thank you for coming to the marketing club. I'd like to ask this before we go. How did you find the room?
Yeah, it's like really, really interesting. And I'm actually a content strategist, writer, and also I have a small team, and we are into production, editing, and designs. So we are just slowly exploring the SEO, marketing, and and the overall thing, like the digital marketing and the leads part. So I would just thought it will be great to collaborate, connect with a lot of people, and this is a very good forum to connect and interact with people from various places. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, it's definitely a great place to be. And I'm glad that you're able to come and, find the room. I also see a lot of pink tickets today. So thank you for being here and finding this room and staying, because it means a lot to me. You could be anywhere else. You have a lot of important things to do. So this being one of them, to be here, it means a lot to me. And thank you for listening to this point. I hope this helped you, gave you insights, information, because I'm always here to give. I'm not here to take. I'm here to serve, and I'm here to help you understand things clearer, because the better I understand things, the better I'm able to articulate them and give them back to you, just like you would if you would do that to me. So I always want to make sure that it's reciprocated in a way that is in benefit to you and of benefit to your time and your value exchange in the time that you spend here with me too, because Clubhouse is a big place. It's a very big place. So I even said that before I do anything now, I'm going to start putting schedules in place, because that's why I decided to put a schedule today. So tomorrow I'm going to be here again. So if you have a pink ticket, please click the link above at the very top. It says Marketing Club, so you don't miss out. I have replays on replays on replays on replays here. Last year, I think I did over 250 rooms here just alone. So, and I started being in this, it's been a long time. So, and then my podcast is called We Don't Play. So you can go to we don't play podcast.com. That's where you can listen to my podcast. There are over 600 episodes you can listen to, and there's so much information that I can share with you. So as long as it's something of interest to you, please feel free to do so. I put the link in the chat. Rachel, did you want to say something?
Sure. I will follow, and I will be connected. Yeah. Thank you so much for your valuable time, also for your insights and everything.
Thank you, Dharani. Thank you. Thank you. Where are you calling from?
So I'm from India, and my startup company is also here in India.
And you always connect with me. I followed you.
Sure. I would like to quickly ask you something. Is there any chances that we can collaborate in terms of content strategies, writing or something, or we can work on anything, like any business proposals?
Yeah, if we can definitely do that, I will put a link, and this is also for anyone too in the room. I have a virtual coffee. If it's not basically for marketing wise, that's fine. But if it's for collaboration, we can talk about it. I have a virtual coffee link, so I put the link in the chat.
Sure.
So if you want us to have some virtual coffee, we can talk about it and then see where that takes us. I'm always open to collaborations, because this is a year of collaboration. We can't do this on our own. Like if we were to do it on our own, I don't know how many people would be where they are today. So I'm all in for collaborations, connections, partnerships, and if any way possible is available, yes. Even if it's to bring you on the show, talk to you about something, or do a collaboration on LinkedIn, I'm open. So as long as it's beneficial to your community and we're definitely on the same page, then yes, we can do that. So thank you for that question, Dharani.
Sure. Hope we'll be on the same page, and it will be a win-win for both of us.
Yes, it will. Rachel, I saw you on mic too. Did you want to say something?
Oh no, nothing. I'm just listening and taking in all the information and just grateful. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope this was helpful and gave you some insights. Dr. Fashion, thank you for always being here. Appreciate you. Masume, thank you for being here too. Justice, Princess, Mr. Chris, Jamila, Mercy, Gary, and K. Patrice, thank you for being here today. I hope this has given you some information, some key takeaways, and we're open. If you need to hire an SEO agency, hire a consultant, hire a website, audit, anything that you need to make sure that your website, your business, your brand is seen out there, this is the time to do it. And once you click the link above, you can register, connect with me. Let's get on a call. Let's talk. You can put your name and best email because I send out emails. Today, I'm actually sending an email out because I want to share with the people. We usually share about 8,000 people plus, and then also 2,000 plus on LinkedIn. And I usually connect to people on my LinkedIn, close to about 18,000 people on there. So the connections we're open. And I love to just give information that can help you learn more about your business and be more strategic. Be more strategic in 2026. And this is where we're able to learn and grow, and we live, we learn, and we earn on the way. We earn information, we earn trust, we earn visibility, and we earn data, because right now data is the new oil. And if you're able to mine your data properly and know exactly where it's coming from, and it's not skewed data, it's not bad oil, it's good oil, it's crude oil, it's good oil, it's good data, then you can do a lot and really do well. So feel free to reach out to me and connect with me. And I look forward to being with y'all here tomorrow, bright and early. Not super early. For some people, it might be early. For some people, it might be late. But I'll be here tomorrow, 12 p.m. Central. So that's pretty much an hour and a half before now. Tomorrow, I'll be here talking about LinkedIn SEO, best practices, marketing, visibility tactics. One thing you can do is add it to your calendar. That's the best way I do it too, because if it's not on the calendar, it does not exist. So I put it on my calendar, and once I put it on my Apple calendar or Google calendar, like you would too on yours, then you'll be able to have it on your schedule. And if it's not conflicting with your meetings, please feel free to be here. But the replays are always available for you to listen through if you're not able to make it in real time. So thank you all. Have a blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next room. Take care, and bye for now. If you have reached this point of the episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I hope this has helped you, given you some insight, because every time I come on here, or anytime I bring somebody on here, a guest, a speaker, anyone that is of relevance to you listening is always going to give you educational value, definitely entertainment value, and most importantly, empowerment value. So thank you for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show every day. And if you want to reach out to me, you know where to find me. Click the links in the description, or go to info@playinc.online, info@playinc.online, and book a call. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk SEO. Let's talk marketing. Let's talk business. Let's talk scaling. And I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you and your business. Till we meet in the next episode, have a blessed evening, have a blessed day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now. And don't forget, Jesus loves you.